What about the idea that men's brains and women's brains are fundamentally different?
So, bottom line is 99%, probably 99.99% of the brain of men and women are the same. Physiologically, there are a few small differences. And the concept that they're different has come from a couple of areas. One is socially, over the last 2, 3, 400 years, we've pushed this idea that men are good at fill in the blank and women are good at fill in the blank. It turns out that most of that is socially driven. And there's a lot of books come out in the last 10 to 15 years that actually just highlight the fact that it was a socially driven difference that we were inventing. Number two is somebody, I forget who it was, did some recent research that basically put men and women without any social implications facing the similar things, whether it be logical or emotional. It turns out they came out very close. Without the social implications behind it, we're pretty well close. I have self-confession time, and that is when I first started to learn about the brain, which would be in the late 70s, early 80s, there was a paper written which identified the fact that the bundle of nerves connecting the left and right brains, called we mentioned it just now, the corpus callosum, was 15 to 20% bigger in women than it was in men. And we used that physiological fact to prove why it was easier for women to be better at multitasking or have more access to their, quotes, right brain than the left brain, all sorts of things. Well, it turns out that 20 years later, 15, 20 years later, someone went back and looked at that original research and found out that the research was bullcrap. There was one small, basically, set of fibers at the back end, which was slightly bigger in women than men. But the sample size in total was about a dozen people. And half a dozen of them were women. And so the actual validity of that, quotes, fact was wrong. And so it was such a small sample size. And yet it got magnified by the press, by the media, and like me that got hold of the paper and started saying this seems to be the way it is.